Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. So yes, I mean, personal data is the new oil of the internet economy, as they say. Well, this is only a part of the issue. The other part is that governments are also interested in our personal data. So I would like, and I see that we already have colleagues close to the mic, so I expect some questions from the audience already. Thank you for that. But let me launch the first one, very innocent one. And now turning to you, Loretta, but your colleagues might answer as well. So, obviously, there is a distrust now vis-à-vis governments to start with. As a user, we certainly have good reasons to just not be that confident about our personal data and governments. So, how do you believe that your organization, Council of Europe, representing 47 countries, including Ukraine and Russia, might be able to restore online trust? And with whom and how do you believe you could achieve this?
Hello? Okay. Thank you, Frederick, for this provocation. So, Council of Europe, it's very concerned about the behavior revealed by Edward Snowden in early July. It was just a coincidence, but we were concerned this long time, and it was just we were just presuming that we have to do something about it. And just 4 days after this revelation came into light, the Council of Europe Committee of Ministers adopted a declaration on risk to fundamental rights stemming from digital tracking and other surveillance technology. So we were a bit prompt. We will not stop here. So we have another mechanism, which is Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, which raised as well concerns. And in August this year, so a group of parliamentarians raised a motion for a resolution on massive eavesdropping in Europe. This motion is calling upon the Secretary General of the Council of Europe to take action under Article 52 of the Convention of Human Rights, that meaning that an explanation of the manner in which internal laws of the member states ensure the effective implementation of the Convention. So, meaning including under Article 8, right to private life, private and family life. We have as well a number of standards, a number of texts with regard to all single domain, including social networks, including search engine, including public service value of internet, including communication on internet. There are relevant texts, each of them including very relevant standards that can be used. We noticed recently that the European Court of Human Rights started to use these standards more and more when they analyze the cases in the court. And this will make these standards binding to the member states, actually.
Thank you. Well, okay, fine. Well, this is something that should or might be reassuring to me, but yet some governments keep spying us and watching us. So I guess that we might need to turn to some other stakeholders to just take some responsibility as, for example, users. So let's be clear. Users sometimes act stupidly on the internet. It will remain between you and I here in this room, but we sometimes do, or some users sometimes do stuff on the internet that they would never do in real life. You won't go to a cafe leaving your your wallet with your credit cards and the codes of your credit cards on the table, go wash your hand, come back and discover that your data has been stolen. So some people do that on the internet. Okay. Now, if we try to make sure that users are in total control of their data, first, what does it mean? I mean, it's a bit of a buzzword because users in total control of their data might also mean that they will receive many more information that they need. So how could we achieve that? How could we help users to be in control of the data? Michael.
I think the major problem which should be resolved is to convince people in that internet is not quite safe environment for communication. The state should be involved. What is called awareness raises on the dangers. But it is of interest to the state. The government wants to get access to this. That's the function for the non-governmental organization, for the civil societies. The rules of the regular hygiene that has been drawn through centuries, and the person just placed information on the credit card, should understand that this code might be used. The person that informed that he left for vacation to the resort at the seashore is a silly thing, and it's nothing else than explanation and on examples. Now there is a very dangerous threat. I see here it regularly. There is nothing for honest people to hide. It's not true. Everybody has privacy, private life, and no one should know about the private life, either the internet companies or the government. We should do it ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will come back to you, Loretta. I would like to hear from Volodymyr if he has something to add on this, and then please take the floor.
I fully share what has been said by Mikhail with regards that users should behave in a sound manner. Even if users behave soundly, the threats to privacy will remain. And laws, in principle, give some means of re-establishing violated rights. It's quite acute, painstaking for internet, but it's beneficial for users who have an opportunity to authorize authorities to consider into the merits of a case and just to apply to courts and also to address European courts if these rights were not re-established in the country itself. On the activity of the society, on the role of the users, depends a lot how does it is ensured by the international standards and these rights for privacy.
Пожалуйста. Well, this demo and demonstration and building that occurred after it was known what Snowden said about the state, in my opinion, not only here but also and throughout the world, are narrowing down the privacy zone. Therefore, the citizens shall probably pressurize the state to abolish the laws that diminish the privacy.
Loretta?
Just I wanted to mention something because you spoke about internet user rights. So our current focus, so it's working on a guide for the internet user rights, which means translation in easy, very simple language of the Convention of Human Rights on internet. This is a very, very, very difficult work for us. We use a group of experts, and we want to make clear that the human rights are equally applicable as offline and online. So we are pretty aware that the most users do not have the necessary knowledge of their human rights online. Therefore, as soon as we have this guide, the compendium, ready, and we plan to endorse it through a recommendation of the Council of Ministers to give it weight. We will focus as well on cooperation activities to help our member states to implement and to raise awareness among their internet users of the existence of this instrument. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Loretta. Very useful. I would like to stick a little bit to users again and the ability to protect themselves and how we, and by we I'm just talking about governments, but also the technical community and business, can actually help users to better protect their privacy. And my concern is what it is that we should do to just help users balance between convenience and privacy. I mean, take consent. If we are strictly implementing the notion of consent and full consent, it would mean that users might need to click every 2 seconds to accept that they might or not be tracked on a specific web, knowing that there are about 365 other viewers on a web page when you are on there. Those are the statistics made in the US recently. So how could we do that? And how could we help actually users to balance between convenience on the one hand and protection of their privacy? Who want to take this?
I will start. Well, now the answer is probably in the question itself, because there should be a balance, and indeed, every second clicking, right, 3 times that you agree to something, that's impossible in most services, but knowing some basic possibilities, like they are obliged basically to give you an opportunity to familiarize with the policy of that particular website, and there are people that will really broach into it in detail, and there are people that will only walk through it just scrutinizing. But that's important to make the user feel protected, at least to know who they're dealing with, who they're working with, and where they came and what it means. And the user culture is still moving, even in our country. In the last 3 years, that's obvious, that towards users striving, actually striving to know where they have come, down to who they work with and what are their rights. And it's a slow process, step by step, but the number of likes or the number of agreements that I approved it, that I agree with, that should be original sufficiency, meaning that should be like the site should be usable, but the key points that really change the mode of interactions, of relationships between the site and the users should make the user aware, so they should make a conscious choice, not just to be an entity, a subject.
I already have questions from the audience. I will take mine within brackets for the time being. So I will leave our first question here. Please go introduce yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dmitry Kostin and Kostanek. Dmitry Burkov asked me to ask his question instead of him because he's out for a meeting, and his remark was that the introduction of PV6 does not pose any new privacy-related issues because those issues also existed in IPv4, so that's not a just new version that resolves the problem of identifying users by IP address. Even according to IPv4, you also have a dedicated IP address in your connection, so it can be kept track of. In IPv6, that's a more acute thing, but that was still available from the 4th version. So that was the comment. And now I would ask my question. I comment Vladimir's presentation about privacy, and I'm talking on behalf of Ukraine, there's the dilemma that the same service cannot provide open access to the user and protect the identification of data of whose site is that. So if I want to know the phone number of who's posted porn stuff or weapons, shall I know that telephone number or not? If that's an available telephone number, that's I can know it. If not, that's private data. And who is credibility? Like I was really posed by the fact that 20% is rubbish, and because I think the opposite. I think that who is by UA is accurate data, at least by how much the registrars and registered decided to provide the data. Number one, I don't think that this data characterizes domain UA, the domain UA.ua, and that's not my data. That's the data of ICANN. That's by generic. But not by you. You don't think that's rubbish? No. If your estimate is 80 by 20 and 20 is garbage, I would pretty much agree. All right. Let me say I agree with you. The problem of who is. And I suppose it's way deeper. So there is ICANN recommended methods on how to operate under recommendation when the user doesn't want their information to be available to everyone, and at the same time it could be available to those who really need it. Like there are some established procedures like proxy servers and so on. You should implement them just like that. But there is a more basic problem: compulsory requirements that are put forth by ICANN, and that's concerning annual data update and long storage of data. And I don't meet the requirements, the European legislation requirements, and that this is not my estimate. That's an assessment by the European Council work group that was set up according to Article 29 by Directive of the European Council. And I'm not citing, but I can cite, and when I look it up. So IPv6, concerning it, there is an official position of a recommendation of the International Privacy Protection Telco Data Work Group, and it's posted on the site of that work group. And for example, there is a positive experience that is not yet very much being implemented in other places, and that's by Deutsche Telekom experience, that have written a voluntary policy on friendly privacy in the use of the IPv6 technology. The way it's going to be, I don't know how it's going to be in Ukraine, but there were the same issues. But if you compare the many addresses of one or another subject, that there's many problems that exacerbate this issue. Alexei Damarchuk. Kaidamaki NGO, non-profit organization, we're into protection of citizens' constitutional rights. I would like to talk about freaks in the government and on the internet community. We got a TV show called Schuster Show, and there's a frequent such a flamboyant MP, and he's an ex-judge, and one of the sides wrote that he wasn't a criminal structures and he protected the interests of crime, and that was alleged to be confirmed documentarily. And what that MP did, he created the law so that the government is able to control the internet, and that's been their long aspiration. So it's total control, and the government will burglarize or break into an internet company, and there are roads for normal people, and there are roads for fools, and there is a SWAT team seizing our servers with traffic exchange points, but I don't think they really violated that, because I'm into free PO. Is that PO? That's number one. Where free people, that's tampering by the country, and there are also some other freaks, and that's their companies. I once go on a site, and I'm not Russia-phobic. I, on a daily basis, visit more than 40 Russian sites, and they require that I identify myself. But there are Yandex, and there is Rambler, number 2, and Mail.ru, and I will not just keep listing that on their own. They are installed in my browser. So the question is, Yandex installs without my consent on my browser, and they really kick the door out, and with those flubbers, I never push the button.
I installed Internet Explorer, just installed Opera last version. I wanted to ask. By itself, it is being installed. Microsoft should pay for it if it is not required. Just so Yandex goes into this Explorer and that switches off all tools. It's not possible to delete. It's a Yandex. You've understood the question to a lawyer. Can I submit a claim against Yandex under Russian laws? Well, what will be the subject of your action? As without my knowledge, Yandex entered into my computer and rechanneled it. I opted for Yandex Opera, but I became then Yandex user. So we are also protecting Yandex. Not at all. Thank you. A couple of words. Well, for some, the world is complicated. Different subjects are online. And the government carries out different laws, different projects. What Mikhail said, it's all true. It exists in reality. But we would like to believe